Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. I am Nate, the bass master, and this is lesson 1 on the strings of the bass guitar. Each of these strings is tuned to a different note specifically, depending on which tuning you are in, and they are tuned generally a 4th scale step from each other, meaning that this string, E, or I guess this string, A, is 4 scale steps away from E, as in like E, F, G, A, 4th. So tuned in 4th, and this string is tuned 4 scale steps away from this string, and so on and so forth. So I'm using a chromatic tuner to help me tune, and what a chromatic tuner does is it will tell you every note that is being played into it or sung into it. Like for instance, if I hit my E, it should read in E, even though it's not. But the difference between a chromatic tuner and a non-chromatic tuner is that a non-chromatic tuner just tells you the notes that you're supposed to be tuned to, and it tells you how you are relative to those notes, whereas a chromatic tuner tells you what note you're playing and whether it's sharp or flat or, you know, all that. So I'm going to tune it by plugging it in. So I should be getting E for this. It's a bit sharp, so I'm going to tune it down to get to E. And a cool trick is that the 5th fret on the 1st string is going to be the open note on the 2nd string. So that's out of tune. Probably wouldn't know. Can you pause it? So in standard tuning, each string on the bass is tuned a 4th from each other. So this one is E, A, D, and G. There's other tunings. So for instance, you could tune it down to D standard, where each string is a scale step below what it initially is in E standard tuning. So everything in music theory is based off of the scale. And there's generally there's two main different types of scale. There's a major scale, and there's a minor scale. There's also a minor harmonic scale, which sounds pretty evil. The main difference between the major scale and the minor scale is the flat third. For instance, in a major scale, the third is not flat, so you play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8 and 1 are the same, always. In a minor scale, the third is flat, so instead of going, you go 1, 2, flat third, and that's what gives it the sort of somber tone, I suppose. When in a scale, there's scale steps, whole steps and half steps, and on a guitar or bass guitar, a whole step is equal to 2 frets, or a half step is equal to 1 fret. So like the flat third is a half step, meaning as opposed to a whole step, which would be the unflatted third. So hopefully you can hear the difference. As I was saying in the previous lesson, the strings are tuned in 4ths. So, like, can you stop that? So the main formula for a major scale is whole step, half step, whole step, half step. And what that means is that there's 2 whole steps, so like 1 whole step, 2 whole steps, and then there's a half step. So instead of going 2 frets, you just go 1 fret because it's a half step. And and then whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, and that was a C major scale. So every song ever written was written in a key signature. And a key signature is the main major or minor scale that the song is based on. For instance, in a song based in the key of C, it's common to have a chord progression of 1, 4, 5, which corresponds to the scale steps in the scale. So for instance, a 1, 4, 5 progression in the key of C would sound like this: 1, 4, 5, because F and G are the 4th and 5th steps in the scale. So again, pretty simple when you think about it. Okay, so the main idea of bass is to pretty much tie the whole song together. So for instance, if the guitar is playing a progression, let's just say a 1, 4, 5 in the key of C, so C, F, G, what the bass would do commonly is just play notes in that scale to lead up to the other chords. For instance, something like this. As you can see, all those notes are in the C major scale, or in the C pentatonic scale, which is a blues-oriented scale, just with notes picked out of the major and minor scales.